what is your paradigm? What's your main relationship paradigm? It's really, really cool when you're on the same paradigm. And if you're not, that's okay. You can evolve.
When you don't know, you can't grow together. When you don't know what your paradigm is, you can't possibly grow together. Conscious couples, business partners, and singles committed to attracting their dream partner. Welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and combined relationship expertise to help you create and consistently cultivate the most magnificent, intimate relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching conscious couples and individuals all over the world, as well as starting and growing a global business together, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and singles, welcome back to the Conscious Couples podcast, where it is not about you or me. It is about the we, which is your intimate relationship. You are here for all things intimate relationships. Before we jump into episode number 13, which is what is your relationship paradigm and what that is and how to make sure that you're evolving over time, we want to give a shout out to Next Level Podcast Solutions, Ron, Aaron, Kevin, the entire team over there. Thank you so much for the work that you do. We really, really appreciate it more than we can express. So what is your relationship paradigm? As always, love. Ladies first.
I want everyone to imagine a past relationship that they had. One where they were spending time together, and every time that you happened to spend time together, it was a little bit out of alignment. And you started thinking to yourself, why am I here? What are we doing right now? This kind of doesn't feel like what I should be doing right now. What I should be doing is insert blank here. I know Alan and I have been in this situation before. I know a lot of clients, a lot of people that we talk to and coach all over the world have had this experience. And when it comes down to those moments, what we're really talking about is, how are you living from a different paradigm? And what is that doing to your behaviors and your relationship? And how is it eating away at that relationship without you really knowing it? And what type of words do you need to understand in order to have those conversations that bring to your current awareness what a relationship paradigm is? So it is the weekend. It is a Sunday morning. Alan and I are sitting here going ham on this episode, trying to make sure that we are delivering as much value to our entire community, everyone who listens to this. And it's, again, a Sunday morning. How many people do you know out there that will spend their entire weekend, their free time, if you will, doing something like this? I mean, if you were to think about what would you and your partner do on your free time, how different would the two of those be? Because when you really boil that down, it's a representation of your paradigms. And the thing about paradigms is it's a deep belief about how you should be spending your time. Very, very plain and simple. And how you spend your time is the equivalent of your paradigm, right? So think about this. You have religion paradigms where you spend your time maybe going to church on Sundays. You have service paradigms, which is what Alan and I are living in right now. You have family paradigms and you have pleasure-centered paradigms. We've all had some type of conflict in our life, especially when it comes to relationships, when those were bidding for the priority, the attention. And when it comes to your relationship paradigm, what Alan and I have seen is that so many people struggle to get on the same paradigm when you have conflicting ones, especially if you don't realize that your paradigm might have been something that was conditioned, not chosen.
So paradigms are a deep belief about life. So do you believe life is about fun? Do you believe that life is about your work? Do you believe life is about growth? Do you believe life is about service? Do you believe all of the above? Do you believe life is about TV and watching shows and watching Netflix? Do you believe that's a good use of time or a bad use of time? So these questions, these contemplating what is your paradigm is so critical. So I grew up with a paradigm of achievement, pleasure, which is a belief that life is about fun, and friendship. And so naturally I had tons of friends, I had tons of fun, and I achieved a lot of goals. And I didn't know this back then, but those are the paradigms I adopted. When I was 7 years old, my mom told me, Alan, life is about choices. Aim high and you'll have choices. And I aimed really high. I always had big, big, high goals, achievement. Pleasure-centered paradigm is life is about fun. We always partied. We always had fun, barbecues, summer, boats, snowmobiles, all that kind of stuff. And then friends. I had tons of corporate friends, tons of college friends, tons of high school friends. I brought my high school friends to my college constantly. So that tells you I was trying to bring friends with me on this journey. When I was 26 years old, I got in that car accident and it shifted my paradigm. I had a lot of regret and I was like, what if that was it? And it transformed my paradigm. So the analogy here is the phoenix burning down and then rising from the ashes. We all have paradigms. We all have a deep belief about ourselves and a deep belief about the world. And it's dictating your every action and inaction. It's dictating everything you say, think, do, feel, and believe. And the point of this episode is, what if you are operating from a different paradigm than your intimate partner? In my past relationship, I'll just use this as an example, it always kind of felt like when I was with her, I was outside of alignment with my goals and dreams. And when she was with me, she felt outside of alignment. And so it was really challenging to stay on the same page, especially at the tail end. And so what happens in intimate relationships is, let's say you meet your partner in college. See, in college, your paradigm is probably academic and having a lot of fun and friends. And then you go into the world and maybe you have a traumatic thing happen and you shift your paradigm into growth, service, mission, goals, dreams, family. And what if they're still stuck in that old paradigm? It's like, oh, you've changed. There's that great meme. Kevin posted it recently, my co-host at Next Level University. He posted it recently of like the caterpillar and the butterfly is sitting across the table and the caterpillar has a little bubble above its head that says, you've changed. And the caterpillar or the butterfly said, we're supposed to. We're supposed to evolve. And so this episode is about like, are you on the same paradigm as your partner? And this is what I had written down. If you do not operate from compatible paradigms, one or more partners will have to evolve for the relationship to work long term. Because you can stay not on the same page for a short period of time, but eventually that will erode the foundation of your relationship. And we don't want that to happen to you. So instead of losing hope, what you can do is, what is my paradigm? What is my partner's paradigm? Emilia and I live from a mission-driven paradigm. We believe that life is about growth and contribution. We believe that life is about maximizing our own unique potential and helping others do the same. And that's where we live and breathe from every single day. And we're doing that right now. See, if I was podcasting and she was off with her friends, that would be different. She doesn't want to be off with her friends. She wants to be here podcasting, serving the world with me. And that's nothing against friends. We have those too, but you understand the concept underneath this. And I just want to say thank you, sweetheart, because I've never been with an intimate partner who truly lived and breathed her mission. Emilia has this beautiful little wooden mini plaque above our fireplace that says, be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I remember when I very first met her, I was in her bedroom and she has all these amazing affirmations written on her mirror and quotes and all this stuff. And it said, start a podcast in 2 years. This is our third date. And I turned to her and I said, why 2 years? And she said, I don't know. I just put that down, but probably sooner. And then it was like 4 months later that she had started a podcast. So it's really, really cool when you're on the same paradigm. And if you're not, that's okay. You can evolve.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because I was just in the bathroom, and in our bathroom now, we obviously live together. And in our bathroom, there's this whiteboard that after a podcast, I remember you had gotten off of. And the standard for this person was so low, and there was such a huge facade and so out of integrity with what they were saying. Thank you. Sorry. That I remember how heated you were because what someone was saying was very different than what they've actually done. And it's clear, it's written all over them in their body of work, if you will. And you were so heated and you created a whiteboard that's, I don't know specifically what it says, but it's like, I, Alan Lazaros, will set the standard for how, like, a new standard for the integrity of this world. Like, and like, without anyone prompting you to do that, you did that for yourself. And every single day you go into that bathroom, and I know you read it multiple times a day, and that determines your behavior. It's the thoughts here and now that will determine the life that you build. And so many intimate relationships get it twisted because they don't know their own paradigm. They don't know where they operate from. They don't know their core. And so you know your paradigm, you know your core, and you know where to build from. And so that's what you bring into our relationship, and vice versa, which is a beautiful thing. And that's why we are so good at staying on the same page and operating from a place that is so abundant and naturally just feeling in alignment. And whenever that alignment isn't there, we know how to talk about it. And like, even if we were to put Tucker here, we know we would be operating from a different paradigm because we would be wanting to be a family and loving and everything. And that would be conflicting with our work paradigm, our mission paradigm. And so a lot of relationships and people that we coach, we see this often where there's one partner. When you get into a relationship, it's like a snap picture where you want to keep it the same way. And it's like, we don't want it to grow from here because it's so good. And then what you find over time is that the relationship starts to erode in a certain way. And that's a direct result of people not realizing what we found, what their paradigm is. And a lot of the times they don't understand that that was a paradigm that wasn't necessarily chosen, like you and I have done, but rather one that was conditioned, meaning whatever your paradigm was growing up, you likely adopted that because your brain got familiar. It knows that that is what we do. It gets comfortable and it says, let's find a partner that likes to do that too, rather than taking a hot minute and saying, this was my conditioning of my paradigm. I grew up around fun, so I naturally love having fun. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's going to be natural to you. When you get in a relationship with someone who you think is beautiful, like they're great, they're doing all these things, and then all of a sudden, like you guys start to drift apart because you're hanging out with your friends, you're doing all this fun stuff, but yet they're trying to build a beautiful world. What happens there? You start to say, oh, it's our communication. It's, we just don't think the same way. Well,
right. We're just two different people. How many times have you heard that? We're two different people.
Of course.
What you really should be saying is, I don't realize this, but we actually have two different deep subconscious paradigms that are actually not as compatible as we thought yet. Yes. Yet. And the key word is yet.
Yeah, exactly. So you hear that happen all the time. And here's the thing. For this episode, what I wrote down is when you don't know, you can't grow together. Mm-hmm. When you don't know what your paradigm is, you can't possibly grow together. Now, you find some of these couples that are just like naturally growing together, and then all of a sudden the shoe drops. And it's like, what happened? Well, a lot of the times the paradigms don't evolve together, and they don't evolve over time because one individual in that relationship is kind of like, well, this is where we started. Let's stay here. Here is safe. And maybe it's a fixed mindset that was cultivated in their upbringing. Maybe it was a paradigm of family is the most important thing, or religion is the most important thing, and they don't want to shift out of that. And so you have the other partner that's struggling because they're evolving, they're growing from a paradigm that they've chosen as they evolve. And that's where you see a lot of the contention in relationships. So again, to understand what your relationship paradigm is, ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, what would you do in your free time? If there were no limitations on money, on resources, on life, on time, like what would you do on your free time?
Hi, my name is Jason Blackstock, and this is my wife, Lisa. We got connected with Alan and Emilia a few months ago through friends, and we were trying to look for ways to strengthen our relationship.
And right away, we just noticed with Alan and Emilia how they made us feel so calm, and like everything that they did with us was gentle, and it felt so like we could let our guard down right away. And that was something that allowed us to open up and just get closer so quickly. So
yeah, I felt it was very easy to connect with them, and their intuition for our situation was very surprising to me. Both past and present, they just knew us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they picked up on things that we didn't even think they would. They just, even in our mannerisms and the way we would look at each other at certain points in the conversation, it was just really cool to feel like they understood us. And it really gave us all the tools that we needed to work on us when we weren't talking directly to them. So we had like homework to do and things to work on, and it really elevated our relationship in big ways. And I think we're both really excited to keep working with Alan and Emilia, because you're never done working on your relationship. And I just feel like that is, if we're good, then the rest of our world is good with our children and our 4 kids. So
yeah, we're very grateful that we met Alan and Emilia and are looking forward to the future.
I know for a fact if there was nothing holding me back, I would love in my spare time to have solitude, to write my book, to tender to plants, to figure out how to solve the challenges in the world that happen to connect to environmental crisis and all that stuff. And that's what I do on my free time. I build the businesses, the people, the communities that can help that. And I know that the way that I'll spend and invest my spare time is going to be very different from, let's say, my family or some of my friends, because they have different paradigms. Whereas what is a beautiful thing, babe, you and I in our spare time, our paradigms get activated. Because that's what's driving us, because it's the core belief that we have deep, deep, deep down that we've chosen, even though we know that we were brought up in a very different paradigm. And that's how we're, so much on the same page.
It's interesting because Emilia and I, we've had people tell us that our relationship is a big mirror. And I understand why, because I've been in relationships in the past that were great, but they were from different paradigms. And I remember one of my paradigms after my car accident that evolved, I went all in on holistic self-improvement and growth and mission. And my girlfriend at the time and I started to grow apart. And I now understand in hindsight why that was, even though she was the sweetest and we had a great relationship. In comparison to this, though, here's what I will tell you, and this is a difficult truth for people to hear, but it is the truth. If you are living from different deep beliefs about what life is about, it's going to be very challenging. You're going to have more challenges. Emilia and I have challenges, and we are off the same page sometimes about this podcast or what episodes to do or what examples to use or how to promote an event and things like that.
Yep.
But generally speaking, they're few and far between, and they're usually little. So you hear couples say, and you'll hear us talk about this a lot, well, we just aren't on the same page. Emilia and I are very naturally on the same page. Not because we're naturally on the same page. We're living from the same paradigm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give one more tangible example, and then we'll go here. And by the way, we have a digital asset with all of the paradigms that Emilia and I have identified that individuals live from. So you can sit down with your partner, look through this list, and say, okay, that's me, that's me, that's me. Okay, that's you, that's you, that's you. Okay, we have these in common. Oh, these might be conflicting.
Right.
And now you can start to shift of like, did I choose that? Or was I conditioned that way? So for me, the conditioning of like life is about fun, that never really felt good for me. I think that's one of the reasons I had a drinking problem early on, is because it wasn't natural.
I had a similar.
When I drank, I was naturally fun.
Right.
But fun never really came that naturally to me. I mean, we
were
have
always
fun,
weirdos.
but it was never the goal.
It was
you
kind of
know?
an effort.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. But anyways, so
Fun looked different for us too. Our version
100%.
of
We
fun.
have tons of fun.
We have so
Isn't
much
it so
fun.
awesome?
People wouldn't
But
consider
it's,
we're
yeah,
fun.
exactly.
Some
literally,
people, but-
literally, exactly. But anyways, so imagine this for a second. So Emilia has a very, very strong, deep belief inside of her that people should recycle and take care of this planet, and that we need to take care of Mother Nature. That is one of her deepest core beliefs, her deepest paradigms. Just imagine if she was with me and I was just littering and throwing trash on the ground she would never be able to love me and respect me at the same level as someone who is going out of his way to pick up trash and to recycle and to put in that effort.
I see you, honey, every day.
Oh, you're very sweet. I know you do, love. Now imagine if Emilia and I have a deep belief in holistic self-improvement, but yet we had partners that never improved. It just wouldn't work. That doesn't make them bad or us good or them good and us bad. But the truth is, if you have a deep fundamental belief in conflict, paradigm in conflict, you're going to have to identify and rectify that, and we want to help you do that. So the question to ask yourself, I wrote most important question, what is your paradigm? What's your main relationship paradigm? Emilia and I talked right before this about how deeply important our work is to us. Our body of work is so critical. what is yours? Is work really important to you? Is your mission really important to you? Is growth really important to you? If Emilia had a bunch of free time, I know what she'd be doing. She'd be learning.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Okay.
True.
One time for Christmas, I got her a leadership series.
My
It was
fave.
5 leadership books because we identified that her biggest bottleneck was leadership from our perspective. We talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got her a leadership series. And one of my mentors actually laughed at me for that. And he said, you should have got her lingerie or whatever. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I know you're joking and being playful, but the truth of the matter is you obviously don't have a partner like mine.
Yeah, that was insecurity talking.
Yeah, that was insecurity talking. And in hindsight, it's very fascinating.
And jealousy.
Yeah, quite frankly. And I inscribed each book. I picked out the 5 leadership books that I think are most valuable for her. And I inscribed each one and told her why I chose the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that gift is going to matter more than if I got her a 30 rack.
Oh my
you know
God.
what I mean? Of course. So you got to know your partner, but more importantly, you got to know yourself. And this
Yeah.
paradigm thing is dictating everything. So
Yeah.
before we go here,
Oh.
we do have a digital asset in the show notes of all the paradigms written out. I believe there are 15 of them.
Yeah, around 15, 18.
18.
18.
Okay, there's 18 of them.
Yep.
So there's 18 different paradigms that we've identified are and the most common ones we will have highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
But go sit down with your partner, do this work. Shout out to Miriam. We talked to her recently. Miriam, do this with your partner too.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what paradigms you are operating from, what ones are together and compatible, what ones are the same, and what ones might be in conflict.
Right.
Find the weeds in the garden, rip those weeds out.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. And that's episode number 13.
Yeah, and I think the only last thing that I'll say to that, babe, is realize that like your love for one another can help the both of you evolve whatever your paradigm is. A lot of people like get into the relationship and have this paradigm and then feel like they have to change for their partner. No, it's not for the partner. It's what you want out of a relationship. It's what you want to give to a relationship. Do you want to change for you? Do you want to change for the we? Do you want to change for your partner? Who do you aspire to evolve for? Is it you deep, deep, deep down? Is it your grandchildren that you aspire to evolve for? Like you set the path, you set the legacy, but it's based on your choices, and your choices are going to look very different if your paradigm was conditioned versus if it was chosen. So that being said, what I will say is reach out to us if you struggle when you look at this digital asset to say like, I don't really know if this is truly my paradigm. We can 100% help you out. I want to invite each one of you to our virtual live monthly event that we host every second Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The event that we will be hosting this May 12th, I believe it is, bouncing back after screwing up in your relationship. We have so many people that screw up in relationships, including us, and we are here to talk about it. We are here to untaboo all of those subjects because let's face it, we're human. We are imperfect. I like to say perfectly imperfect. And we're all about bouncing back after those imperfections and after those imperfect moments where we do screw up. And we're going to have a great, time there with people from around the world. It's Zoom, it's free, and it's an incredible event that's going to happen. A lot of people already signed up, and we're super jazzed up for it.
We're also super excited. One of our clients, it's a couple that we've worked with for probably almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be the warriors at the event where they're going to be an example of how they screwed up. One of the partners really screwed up, as we all do.
Yeah.
And he owned it, and it was very vulnerable, and I'm super excited for that because you're going to get to see in real time, behind the scenes, privately, a couple that took a screw up and made it into something magnificent.
Yeah.
And they just bought a new home, and they're living their dreams. It's
Killing it.
unbelievable
They're
to
killing
see, and I can't wait to go fishing at their place if they're listening. But next we have... so our next episode is episode number 14, and it's Is Your Partner Taking Ownership? Super, super important. You cannot change something that you don't take ownership for. You have to identify a problem before you'll work on it. And it's that whole Alcoholics Anonymous thing of like, yes, I am an alcoholic, but I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
And that's what that episode is going to be about. Shout out to Miriam. We appreciate you so much. We had a call with one of our listeners from Nigeria, and it was wonderful. We love to meet our listeners.
Love.
Please book. So she went to the website, actually.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a link to the website in the show notes. Ron and Aaron, please do that. And you can book a free 30-minute relationship talks call with Emilia and I. We do them every single Saturday, service Saturday, and it was so cool. We love to meet our listeners. We love to hear your challenges. We love to hear the things that are awesome. That is how we create this content. We are curating content that is relevant and applicable to people all over the world, because quite frankly, there's no relationship that doesn't have challenges, and we want to help you flourish.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as perfect, as Emilia said, but there's always better.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be perfect. Neither can I, neither can Emilia. There's no such thing, but we can be better, especially if we learn how. So click the link in the show notes, go to the website, check that out, and hopefully you can book a half-hour call this Saturday on our calendars.
We can't wait to see you, meet you. That was such a fun experience. I lit up like a Christmas tree. That made my day. Anywho, thank you so much for listening. This was hopefully a very beneficial podcast. If you loved this one, please share it with someone that you know needs to hear it. I know that there's been people that have reached out to us like, thank you for saying that. And I love and appreciate that feedback so much, because it helps us understand that we're adding that value to your life and that it's relevant to you. So shout out to all you guys and gals who are listening.
Thank you. Subscribe, leave us a review, share it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And as always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please make sure you follow us on Instagram. I am at Evolve with Emilia, and Alan is a Lazaros 88.
Also, if you or your partner resonated with this episode, leave us a review at the link in the show notes, and please share this with someone you love and care about.
Until next time, remember, it's not about you or me. It's about
the we.